Welcome to my channel. You've just arrived at a place where urgency can soften and truth has time to breathe. Today's story is called Pulling vs. Calling, and it's not just a story, it's an invitation. An invitation to sense the difference between what pulls you out of yourself and what quietly calls you home. As you listen, you might notice your breath slowing, your shoulders releasing, your awareness gently turning into the quiet voice within. And if you find yourself drawn to this kind of deep remembering, to these stories that steady the nervous system and speak directly to the soul, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel now, because something inside you already knows you want to come back to this space again. So settle in and listen, not for the noise, but for what resonates, for what calls, for what was waiting quietly all along. Pulling versus calling, a nervous system-based approach to intuition. Her name was Rose, and for most of her life, she had moved toward things that pulled at her time, pulled at her worth, pulled at her nerves with urgency that dressed itself up as opportunity. It was easy to mistake them for invitations, because pulling can be persuasive. It often comes dressed up as flattery, dressed up as momentum, dressed as love. It tells you, if you don't do this now, you'll be left behind. And so she moved, often. But every time she followed the pull, there was a cost. A tightening behind her eyes, a shallow breath, a growing sense of being everywhere except inside herself. Then one evening, quiet, undecorated, nothing extraordinary about it, she stopped. Not because she planned to, not because she had a revelation. She simply ran out of energy. And in the stillness that followed, Rose heard something strange. Not loud, not even clear, just a tone, a hum, something steady beneath the static of all her yeses. She closed her eyes and she listened. It reminded her of being in an old house with many rooms. Each room had a speaker. Each speaker played something familiar. One echoed the voice of ambition. If you want to matter, keep climbing. Another whispered comparison. She's already ahead of you. One hissed obligation. They need you more than you need rest. Each room felt like it demanded her attention. She could feel the pull in her body, tight shoulders, fast thoughts, a lean forward energy that never seemed to end. But then, she walked down a hallway with no sign on the door, and instead, a sound. There was silence. Not emptiness, presence. And when she entered the room, something inside her shifted. There was no speaker in this room, just space, stillness, and something like weightless gravity, as if the air itself held knowing, not instructions, not pressure, just permission. Rose didn't know why, but she sat down, and she stayed. Longer than she had stayed anywhere in years. As she breathed, a quiet question arose, not from thought, but from deep underneath her ribs. What wants to move through me? Not out of fear, but from truth. The question wasn't urgent. It didn't demand a deadline. It waited. And she realized something else. The pull had always come with tension. The calling came with resonance. They could feel similar at first, but the difference lived in her breath. When she followed the pull, her breath disappeared. When she sat with the calling, her breath deepened. She began walking through her days differently. Not faster, not more productively, just aware. When a new offer came in, a chance, a request, a temptation, she didn't answer right away. She listened to her body. If her chest constricted, if her stomach twisted, if her mind spun, she paused, and she whispered inward, "Is this pulling me from myself or calling me toward it?" Some doors still opened, but fewer than before, because now she knew how to wait for the door that didn't need to shout, the one that didn't push or plead or prod, the one that stood quietly, soft light underneath, not locked, just an invitation. You are ready, even if you're still becoming. And Rose learned, a pulling is loud, a calling is still, a pulling demands, a calling invites, a pulling frays the body, a calling opens the soul. And though the pull may come first with urgency and flash, the calling will remain long after the noise fades. And so now, when the road grows loud again, as it always does, she returns to that room inside herself, the one with no speaker, no agenda, just space. And she listens, not for what pulls at her, but for what calls her home. Hypnotic Induction, the sound beneath the static. Before we begin, take a moment to allow your body to settle into itself. Let your spine soften. Let your breath slow. And if you like, you can gently close your eyes now, or simply allow your gaze to drift, unfocused. There's nothing you need to do, nothing to get right, just the slow unfolding of stillness. Let your attention settle into your breath, and notice the breath as if it's the first time you've ever felt it. Not to change it, just to be with it. Inhaling and noticing. Exhaling and softening. Let the breath move in and out like a tide you don't have to manage. It knows the way. And now, begin to bring your attention inward, into the space just behind your forehead, then down behind your ribs, and deeper still into the quiet chamber where your thoughts don't have to speak, because beneath the surface of noise in your mind, there is a different kind of listening, a deeper kind of knowing, a place where you don't have to decide, where you don't have to react, where you can simply notice. Now imagine you are in a wide, empty corridor. It stretches gently in front of you, dimly lit, but soft, safe. And along the hallway, you begin to hear echoes. Not voices you chose, but voices that reach for you. Some are fast, persuasive, tempting. This is your chance. Don't wait. If you say no, you'll regret it. Everyone else is ahead. Why aren't you moving? Each one hooks something old. A part of you that learned to move quickly, to prove, to please, to stay useful. But not everything that pulls at you is meant for you. So you pause, right here, in the middle of the corridor, letting those voices pass, like shadows sliding along the walls. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to answer them. You can simply notice how they feel, how your body responds. Tight jaw, shallow breath, shoulders pulled forward. That's the pull. It always comes with tension. Now, ahead of you, you notice something else. A door. No sign. No speaker. No demand. Just a quiet glow beneath the frame. An invitation, not an instruction. And when you reach for the handle, you might feel something subtle. Not urgency, but readiness. You open the door, and what's inside isn't loud, isn't persuasive, isn't even clear. It just feels right. Like a room you've been missing, even if you've never been inside it before. Now, imagine yourself sitting in that space, breathing, unrushed, unjudged, undistracted. This is a space of calling, not performance, not pressure, just possibility. And here, you may begin to hear something softer. Not a push, but a pull inward. A resonance, a readiness, a truth that says, you are allowed to wait. You are allowed to want something slower, deeper, more real. What's meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. And from this quiet place, you begin to remember how to tell the difference. A pulling takes from your body. A calling restores it. A pulling uses urgency. A calling waits for grace. A pulling wants you faster. A calling lets you arrive. You can stay here as long as you like. And when you're ready, you'll bring your stillness back with you. Let your fingers twitch softly. Let your breath deepen just a bit. You don't have to rush, because even as you open your eyes, you may already know. You don't need to follow every sound, only the one that leads you home. So here are the key meanings. Number 1, pulling is an urgency that comes from fear or conditioning. The story shows that pullings often come from the external world, obligations, comparisons, opportunities that feel like ultimatums. These voices may sound urgent, persuasive, even seductive, but they are rooted in the need to avoid loss, prove worth, or maintain control. The message? Not everything that demands your attention deserves your energy. Number 2, calling is quiet and resonant, rooted in inner truth. Unlike the loud echoes in the hall, the true calling appears as a door with no sign, no demand, just an invitation. This shows that true callings don't chorus. They wait. They emerge from stillness and alignment, not urgency. Message? A calling doesn't shout. It reveals itself when you're ready to listen. Number 3, the body is the compass. One of the most vital distinctions is how the story uses bodily sensations to differentiate a pulling from a calling. Rose's breath, shoulders, and nervous systems responds to clues. When she follows the pull, her body contracts. When she finds the calling, her body opens. Message? The body always tells the truth. Tension means check in. Resonance means proceed. Number 4, there is a room inside us that cannot be pressured. The inner room with no speaker symbolizes a part of the self that is inviolable, wise, and free from external programming. It represents a space of deep intuition and soul guidance. Every person has this inner room. They simply forget how to return to it. Message? You don't have to fix the noise. You only have to find the space beneath it. Number 5, discernment begins with slowness. The story models a core principle of intuitive living. Pause before response. Rose learns that not every invitation is aligned, and not every opportunity is meant for her. By slowing down, she regains agency and clarity. Message? Your calling is patient. Your pulling is impulsive. Let slowness be your guide. Number 6, healing means reclaiming choice. Over time, Rose shifts from reactive to responsive, from being pulled by the world to being guided from within. This transformation mirrors deep emotional healing and nervous system regulation. The story reinforces that you are not at the mercy of every invitation. Message? You are not here to be pulled in every direction. You're here to follow what aligns with who you are becoming. And number 7, you don't have to know the whole path, only the next right door. The story's door metaphor reminds us that you don't need to see the entire future to take one aligned step. The door doesn't offer guarantees, It offers presence and a soft glow of readiness. Message: your truth path doesn't require proof, only presence. And now, as the story settles into your body, you might notice something softening, not because a problem was solved, but because something deep within you was finally heard. If this story spoke to you, if it helped you feel the quiet difference between urgency and truth, then you're already sensing what your nervous system has been waiting for, a space where you can come home to yourself. And if that's the kind of space that you want more of, more stories that speak with your soul instead of your mind, then go ahead and subscribe now, because this space isn't just here for you once, it's here for you whenever you return. And if you're feeling called, not pulled, but truly called, to receive a personalized hypnotic story crafted just for your inner landscape, then I invite you to reach out. Send me an email to rhonda's@gmail.com. Let me know what you're moving through, and I'll begin weaving a story that's made just for you. Until then, listen gently, choose slowly, and always come back to what calls you home. Until next time, be well.